The knowledge you will learn at my seminar will make you financially independent for the rest of your life.
One of my recent transactions, I walked away with a check for $15,010.50. I took the Tuan Anh Vu Profit Seminar. It has worked for me. It has made me financially secure. You can do it too.
You don't have to ask your boss for a raise anymore. You can give yourself the best raise of your life. Come to my seminar.
Using the Tuan Anh Vu techniques, I bought this house, made $33,000. If I can apply the Tuan Anh Vu techniques and make $33,000 on this house, you can do it too.
The money-making strategy taught at my seminar is the solution for those of you who work hard but are underpaid.
Using the Tuan Anh Vu technique, one of the homes I recently bought made me $12,000.
You don't need to be a genius to learn how to make a lot of money with my system. A lot of my students who are average people make a lot of money. Why not you?
This is the house we just bought. It appraised for $98,000 and we were able to get it for $55,000. What this has done has given me confidence in myself that I know I have the ability to be able to do this. And he has confidence in me too.
At first, I didn't feel that deals like this were possible, but we have the house and we have our $30,000 profit, and I certainly believe now.
Do you see yourself a millionaire someday? Have some guts. Make a decision. Come to my seminar.
Tuan Vu, sometimes called Tommy Vu, or in original Vietnamese, Tuan Anh Vu, is a face and voice, frankly, that if you're old enough, you may remember him. In the 1980s and early 90s, he ran a series of infomercials advertising his get-rich techniques. See, Tommy here is from Vietnam, and he immigrated to the United States in 1975. By the 80s, he had seen some success in the real estate business, and he decided that he was going to host a whole bunch of seminars in order to share his skills, his technique for how to make just so much money. Just millions of dollars. All this money just sitting there, guys. And all of you could make it. Definitely for realsies. Absolutely. He handled his particular infomercials in an interesting way. In his case, he would sit there, talk with his thick accent, yet personable and friendly personality, while surrounded by, frankly, luxury. He would show off fountains, nice cars, and of course, many women. Just so many attractive women. As one does, and promote his seminars. He offered a free 90-minute seminars, but you could also pay for his week-long seminars, where even more secrets would be revealed for the low price of $16,000 a person. Oh, is that all? And if this particular style of scam, as well as the seminar thing, sounds really familiar to you, well...
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. It's fun to drive up here in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah, even in the modern day, you still see this sort of thing on occasion, especially on the internet. Some dude walking around his rich property with all his fancy stuff, showing it off and saying, "Hey man, I'm not gonna promise you can make money, but you know, if you listen to me, come to my talk. It's free, I promise, for realsies. I'll show you how you could be just like me." Tuan Anh Vu did it before it was cool, I guess you could say. But real talk, all these guys are scammers. And if you give it any amount of thought, well, it makes sense. Simply put, there's just no way that everyone can become rich within the same market. It's impossible. In Vu's case, it was real estate. There physically is not enough property for every single person who went to these seminars to actually profit from and become filthy rich. Vu was taking in all the money from the seminars, and according to his staff, he would often use that money to fund his own real estate business. And the thing was, Vu didn't practice what he preached. His advice hinged on the idea of no money down real estate. The idea was to find deals where you could finance 100% of a property's purchase price without putting any money down. So effectively, you could do it even if you were flat broke. Get a hold of property for no money down, and then sell it off at a profit. It makes sense, but only if you don't think about it at all. The no money down real estate idea, it can work, But it's not perfect. For one thing, assuming you find one of these deals at all, you'll likely be paying a lot more interest on the loan. Granted, the technique is to sell it off immediately, so you would kind of dodge that in this instance. But by putting no money down, you also wouldn't be able to afford really large properties that would require actual money down because they're, by their nature, worth more. You can only buy cheap stuff, and the property would have less equity overall. But the biggest issue is that the whole no money down idea just isn't feasible for most situations. Vu's technique focused on finding people who were frankly desperate to be rid of their properties due to economic hardship. So basically he was literally advising people to take advantage of the desperate. But it wasn't just desperate people they were looking for, it would be idiots. Even a person in a particularly desperate situation isn't going to sell their house for less than they know it's worth. If they are in a position where selling off their house is their only option, they're gonna at least get what it's appraised for. If you're lowballing them, not even putting any money down, that's not happening. So you'd either have to have a max charisma stat, and most people don't have that, or you'd have to be dealing with a unique kind of imbecile. And those, despite what Twitter may suggest, are few and far between. The point is, his advice simply didn't work, and he often paid straight up cash for properties that he got a hold of, putting, well, all the money down. Much of the money he used for his own real estate business came from the seminars, of course. And there's nothing illegal about that, to be fair. He is allowed to use the money that people pay him for the seminars for whatever he wants. But by the early 90s, people started getting fed up with Vu. He'd held his seminars for several years at that point, and plenty of people had heard his advice and attempted to put it into practice. And the vast majority, about 99.9%, found that it simply didn't work at all. Even people that still stood by Vu admitted that you had to work really, really, really hard to actually make his advertised technique work. It was not easy money. It was hard work. You had to try, which was Vu's major defense. Even in his ads, he said, "Do you want to be a loser, or do you want to be filthy rich?" The idea being that if you didn't want to work for it, you didn't deserve it. And some of you might say, well, isn't that true? Yeah, you can have that opinion, but you can't have that opinion while at the same time advertising a technique in real estate to people, charging them 5 figures a ticket to actually be there for it, only for the advice to really not be good at all. Vu also had people in the seminar sign multiple different contracts and made several promises of allowing them to work with him on real estate deals. And by that, he meant that he would generally take the deals that were really good, that he knew were good, and let the student take the crappy deals. So, not really a good look there. And a lot of the contracts were written very cleverly. See, in the technical sense, Vu offered refunds for people who were unsatisfied with the seminars. And by that, I mean, in order to get a refund, you had to prove that you put his techniques into practice by keeping meticulous notes for months and trying in vain for all that time every single day to make these real estate deals. And if you could not show this, you wouldn't be given a refund because as far as he was concerned, and by that I mean as far as the contract was concerned, you hadn't actually tried. By his own admission, over the course of his seminar's existence, he'd only ever issued less than 10 total refunds. And he became a millionaire off this. He was sued by former students and investigated by government officials in Florida for alleged violations of securities laws, fraud, and false advertising, but partially due to the contracts, he was never formally charged. The government never was able to pin anything on him. The thing about Vu, compared to a lot of other scammers, is he really did work hard at what he did. Scamming people, but When a lot of other real estate scammers had gotten in trouble, Vu didn't make their same mistakes. He covered himself quite well, to the point that no technical crime could ever be pinned on him, because he did do everything he said he was going to do in the very technical sense. It wasn't nearly as good as people were led to believe, but he did do those things. And because he did the things he said he was going to do, there just wasn't a crime, even though the authorities desperately, so badly wished to just throw the book at him. Legally, they couldn't. So Vu walked. He carried on his seminars until at least 1992, although the accusations and the investigation, while he was never formally charged, were public knowledge, and it wasn't a good look. People stopped trusting him after that, so he quit. He retired from real estate, took his money, and relaxed for a few years before, eventually, becoming a professional poker player. Really? It's a trend that continues until today. At the age of 66, he continues to take part in casino poker tournaments. He's won nearly $2 million as of 2017 doing this. He's actually really good at poker. A career scammer really good at poker? I, for one, am utterly shocked by this startling revelation. And his ridiculous commercials also went down in history and have been parodied numerous times by a whole bunch of different shows. And you might be saying, how could he have ever gotten away with it for this long? Why was he never charged? Well, like I said, they couldn't pin anything on him at the time, and Vu was smart enough to quit while he was ahead. Just like in poker, he knew when to fold. The second he was under investigation and got through it, he didn't attempt to double down on his scamming ways. He pulled out, unlike Trudeau, who couldn't stop scamming to save his life. Vu did his scam, got away with it, and said, okay, that's good, I think we're done here, which was the smartest thing he could have done. And in terms of opinions on him, well, they vary. I'll let you guys discuss that down in the comments. And with that, a special thank you to all my underwater train finders, Some Dude 267, Benjamin Owens, Anzac A1, Arthur Roy, Jack Carson's Roy videos, Lord Al 444, Isurfer 1405, Charles Kwiatkowski, Matt Weaver, Tom Red Lion, NS Productions 8104, Wheeljack 8401, Rescues Greyhounds, The Baxter, Kendall Crosswhite, Josh Johnson, Kid of Brainwaters, Prez Drenton, Master of None, Travis Dolinsky, JBL Explorers, Tommy Rossini, Ben McCullough, Panzer Kitsune 131-232, Mark Holding, Mr. Terevel, Hayden DeGrow, Bad Train Puns Are Best, Kurt Forkham, Harry, Drew Debris, George Kenny, Kevin Wood, Hendrick Motorsports Fan 5, Hannah Bird, Duraushi, A Person 723, William Nemo, Dr. Racer 78, Shimasu, Metal for Life Guy, Andrew Bowen, Crimson Rose, Ryan Wehofer, Zintac M, Boss K, Orange Glass, Andy, The Conceptualist, Ohio Trucker 1, Windy City Rails, John Videola, AET Museum, Extra Special J, DFL Church, Murder Drone Stall, Bob Kondirk, Your Mom Liked It, Jared Brussel, Caden Alvey, Levi Anderson, Darrell Williams, Liam Wright, DE Ultra, Mr. Sleepy, NJ1969, Acoletti, Jonathan Coco, John, Connor Hahn, and of course, my dad. Till next time, this is Darkness and the Individual of Fun. Farewell.